Thank you for that welcome, and thank you for putting up an extremely diverse and interesting program here. It's been great 2 days. It's good to see so many different nationalities, and I've been getting a lot of praise for Finland, so I feel extremely honored. There's a lot of good reviews about Finland. So I'm from Finland, so that's why I have the flag. Terve, that's good. So my topic, as mentioned, I'll just go to digital world now. Now we go to the world of internet, no countries, no nationalities, just digital stuff. And I will also touch tourism, so that was a little bit older title. So I will also touch tourism since it's a very heavy topic on this conference. So I will take 20 minutes of your life now, and I will talk about technology trends that I see are enabling creative economies. Then I will look at the film, photo makers, and music industry, see how those trends are enabling them, and then I'll also will dive into the tourism. Since yesterday, you see the head of tourism of OECD also mentioned there's a very strong link between tourism and creative industries, so I will touch that. And then I give some suggestions how to keep innovating and drive change in creative economies before I will sum up with the main takeaways. So since we're talking about creative economies, it's good to get the elephant out of the room about the copyright issues. So today it's de facto on the internet, so any services, whatever you publish, whatever you own your own contents, it's yours. You choose what kind of copyrights you have, so you don't have to, you still have to read the fine print, but it's, you don't have to, it's not an issue anymore. It's like who owns the content, I'll be ripped off with, who has the rights. So you own your content on the internet, whatever service you use. So the technology trends that I see are enabling are mainly, I see mobile and digital marketplaces that are the two most important things, changing things today in creative economies, as in any other economy, to be fair. And that is mainly because it enables discovery and it enables experience. So these are very crucial to creative economies because you need to be found, you need to be discovered and get visibility. And creative economies are mainly about experience. It's a fan experience, user experience, and how you deal with the creative economies. So, and if you do have to talk about mobile, everyone knows there's more toothbrushes. No, there's more mobile phones than toothbrushes. So it's kind of clear case that we all are very mobile enabled. But to make the case why mobile is very important is that some statistics, 70% of all Europeans have smartphones, 55% of all in US, and in Finland that's 92%. So we are very, mobile heavy smartphone users. The global mobile traffic is increasing to 15%, and it's increasing exponentially, it's called. So all the internet traffic is moving also to mobile. And there's today 1.2 billion accessing the web from the mobile. And just a little note, there's like almost 70% of the emails that are not mobile optimized are being deleted. So you really need to be on your mobile. So this is the one you need to be finding. So what's troubling then in this mobile-enabled world is that almost 50% never uses roaming, and that's only within EU. And that's really bad for all kind of business. And 95% limit their usage. So all, mobile, it's a lot of app economies, maps, tourism, take that. If I can't use my phone, it's too expensive. So how do I get to the places and how do I find out about things? And what I just learned is also in Africa, 10% of the day, your income is spent daily on your prepaid mobile charges. So that's really, prohibiting and limiting creative economies as any other economy. So then there are the rise of digital marketplaces, and I'm not talking about any classified, sites or ads. Digital marketplaces are places where buyers and sellers meet each other and interact and are enabled to converse. And this is enabled today with cloud services because it's much more easier and cheaper to get started. When you run your businesses in the cloud. There are a lot of social platforms which enable sharing. and discovery, and then today global payments and logistics are much more mature. So it has gone. And what digital marketplaces are great for, because they increase the discovery. They bring transparency, and they bring trust, because when you start doing business, selling and buying, it's very important that you can trust the person on the other side. You know that the payments are going through, and that what digital marketplaces are taking care of, off the table. Legalities, payments, you know who the other person is because you registered, and there's a lot of social interaction. So these digital marketplaces are on the rise in very many verticals, and specifically in creative economies. But of course, there's no just mobile and digital marketplaces, because creative economies are naturally enabled also with social and crowdfunding. And crowdfunding we already touched before here. There's been some talks about that. And that's naturally very good for specifically creative economies. But the power of social, this is the picture that actually took down Twitter. This weekend is from Oscar's tweet, also broke the record of Obama's inauguration. And so in 45 minutes, it got like almost 1 million shares. So definitely these social platforms are enabling sharing, and people are showing engagement, which is the main takeaway. People are engaged and they want to engage. Not everyone's going to be an Oscar winner and star, but you do find your audiences, globally with these social services. And this was the oh my god that yesterday the CEO of Hive talked about. He mentioned that Kickstarter just broke the 1 billion limit in pledges to all these creative projects. So, but the great thing about this, or the important thing, is here to see that more than half a billion has been pledged just the last 12 months. So it's a 5-year-old service, but just the crowdfunding is totally peaking. It's doing the hockey stick, as we say in the entrepreneurs world. So you're increasing. So these crowdfunding services are extremely important. They've been enabling more than ever just the past years. So which is a great segue then to talk about film. And that's also, then we talk about independent film. We're not talking about Hollywood. But this is Innocente, that's first film ever funded by Kickstarter crowdfunding film that won Oscar last year. It's a short documentary. It only needed $54,000, and it won an Oscar. So the biggest thing in independent film, of course, the hurdles are funding and distribution, which crowdfunding now is enabling a lot. And because the funding, this is a very great quote from Orson Welles, a great director, and what he quotes was that 95% he's spending time on is raising the money, and 5% is actually making the movie, and that's no way to live. So when it comes to creative economies, the funding is always an issue. It's an issue in other places, but specifically in creative economies. So that's been enabled and changed now on the digital world. And this is what it looks like a little bit, just to give a sense of films. There are actually 50,000 films produced, 2009, which is a lot. Of those are 7,600 are feature films that get theatrical view. So it's very, very few movies that are getting actually movie time. And at the same time, never has so many people watched so many movies, but that mainly is not in the theaters anymore. So a little bit on film in numbers also. So when you talked about Kickstarter, so there's that 1 billion. 1 million has been pledged to independent film. So 1/10 gets funded from crowdfunding, and that's only Kickstarter, by the way, we don't get other numbers. And of those, 40% is a success rate. So almost half of the projects that have been put on Kickstarter are successful. And actually, it's as I mentioned, one has only won, and there's been 6 movies so far that has been Oscar nominated, which is incredible. What is enabling also creative and economies and film is the video formats, and that's been one of the biggest growth factors in film making and producing. And in Nigeria, for example, there's over 1,000 films made per year and that's mainly because of video formats. And Mauritius, never made film before 2009, and now they're making like 30 movies a year because of the video format. And in total, it's 14% of all film production, and it's growing also. And what is notable is that 2 online movies, the online-only movies, has been Oscar nominated also. But here comes the hurdle then when we talk about this distribution. It's also funding. It's 94% never get distribution. So there's a lot of films made, those 50,000, and 94% never find their way into theaters, which is now enabled then with the digital distribution platforms. And there's I'd say like a dozen notable players on the field at the moment. I'm sure that's growing. But generally, it's a revenue sharing model, so filmmaker keeps 50 to 70% of the revenues made, which is a good deal, and you get to actually choose your own ending, because when you go to Hollywood, and so there's a lot of other questions before you get your film on the screen. One of the biggest one of those digital distribution platforms is Vimeo. I know you've probably heard of Vimeo. Use that on your video uploads. It's Vimeo on Demand. It's a premium service where you can actually publish your film, decide what kind of, how much it's going to cost, where it's going to be distributed, and you can show it globally, and you make the calls. So, but now it also started a program that it's pledging $500,000 to programs that are, or films that are crowdfunded. So at least when you get at least $10,000 raised, so then you can apply to this program, and you can get extra perks, and then you get actually shown to the Vimeo on Demand platform and get very unique performance there. So we talked about film, and then we go to photo, and the name Kodak Moment has got another meaning now, because 2012 Kodak actually declared bankruptcy. And how is that happening? One didn't think that would happen. So Kodak Moment is not anymore about the memories, it's about bankruptcy. Because we all moved to this one, and that happened very fast. So mobile photography, it's now there's totally 5 million photos uploaded daily, mobile. It's amazing. And the biggest one is Instagram, a service, and they have 55 million photos uploaded daily. 60% of the big brands have presences there. I follow many of them. 60% is out of the US also, so it's not a US-based service. It's very, very international. And there are 16 billion photos shares and 1.2 billion likes, which means it also has a lot of engagement, fan engagement. You connect with your audiences. So many brands and creative industries also use this. Many creatives have their presence on the internet and Instagram. So one of the companies is Berlin-based IM. It's one of those services. It's sort of Instagram, so it's also photo sharing that now has started to offer a marketplace. So it's just opening very soon. It just announced that there will be a 50-50 revenue share. So all these digital photos, beautiful photos people are taking everywhere, can now be actually traded, and you can make money on those ones. So at the moment, there's 10 million photographers on the platform, so there's a lot of you. I should really recommend you to check out the beautiful pictures. So, and talk about maker culture. That really got a breakthrough a couple of years ago. Anything that can be made on the Internet of Things. And this will include a lot of the, whatever your designer, clothes, jewelry, anything, make yourself. And the biggest marketplace there is Etsy. It has now over 30 million members, 1 million active shops. There are 20 million items listed. It's very global, 200 countries. And the basic business model is that they take 3.5% commission. So if you're, whatever your craft is, you can, join the marketplace, which also gives you visibility. It gives you transparency, it gives you trust. You can trade easily with your buyers and sellers, and then you, of course, rate it and be reviewed. So it's been a very great place to actually start showcasing creative crafts. There's also verticals, and it's a fairly new one. Currently only US one. It's called custom made. So makers who are custom made things. I want to get custom made wedding ring. I want to get custom made dinner table sets, chair, something, whatever you want to get made. You can now start asking and trading on custom made. So at the moment there are 12,000 makers, 100,000 buyers, so there's definitely demand. 50,000 posted projects, which means there's even more demand. And it's not even cheap things, it's like $1,000 average. So these are high quality, personalized things that people are looking for. And the business model here is a commission, so they take 10% when the deal is made. But this is the thing also, digital marketplaces, so it's based on the commission or revenue share, because what these marketplaces offer you is a discovery, and it's a trust mainly. And so definitely you can do this. You can go and you can choose to have your own online store, and many have both. They both have the marketplaces, and then they have their own shop. This is Ticktail. It's a Swedish online shop solution, just 2 years old. They have now 30,000 stores in 150 countries. And the specific thing is here, it's completely free. No transaction fees, nothing. They make money if you want to enhance your store. But the basic things is very nice and definitely very affordable since it's free. And this is an example. So like this, how international this is. So this is Carmen. She's from Chile. She lives in Belgium, and she loves to make these iPad cases. And now she can have a worldwide audience with this Ticktail shop. So she's selling worldwide this. And another one is Shopify. That's the biggest US one. It's also very international. It's of course global, with 80 payment solutions, and it has 90,000 stores, and it has 70 million products, 3 billion in sales, which means there is trade happening, and you can have it in any language, and that you can have for 30%, $30 a month. So these are also alternative solution, because creative people, they don't have time with administrating things. They are busy creating their crafts and producing things and being creative. So they need very easy solutions, to not become a technology, specialist and understanding how the e-commerce works and how these shops work and how to be maintaining them. These are very easy, just plug and play mainly. You upload your stuff and then you're on the go. And these are very good supplements, complementary to these digital marketplaces, because as we know, internet is big, and if you're not gonna on the Google first page, then it probably doesn't exist. It's the same as you don't exist. So to be found, you need to be on these. Well, I would say that you need to be found, on these digital marketplaces, which now are rising in very many different verticals also. So, and then we're heading to the music. Music we also already talked about. There is one mentioned about the tourism in music, bringing a lot of money to UK. So music also naturally moving online. So there's also UK statistics. So digital revenues are making now 50% of total UK record industry. And there's a streaming industry that is the fastest growing sector, generating a lot of $1 million today. So you're a musician, you're supposed to be online. And this is relevant to like Kickstarter. It's called Pledge Music. They claim they have 90% success rate on musicians who brought their projects. And Kickstarter says they have 55%, so it's pretty good. And most artists actually exceed their goals with 40%. And so far, 500,000 people have pledged, and it's $64 average, so it's not just a small amount. And they also said they have helped between $50 and $60 to get signing regular label deals. So, both these on and offline worlds are meeting. Technology and internet is enabling creatives actually to reach their audience and reach their goals. And that's what fans want. They want more, and they want experience, which is also the big opportunities on the internet for creative industries. You can better serve your fans. And there's this recent Nielsen study that said that music industry would actually add $500 million to $2.6 billion in revenue if fans were offered better set of products and experiences. So once again, there's this experience. You can reach the audience, serve them better, and they're willing to pay. And those things are enabled by a company also called Topspin. It's a direct-to-fan sales and marketing platform where you can actually collect and converse with your, have a conversation and converse with your fans and audiences. You can ship merchandise worldwide, because then you can start with $10 a month and better serve your audience. And that was actually just this week also bought by a music streaming service. So there's definitely this interconnection between artists online while you're listening to your music on a streaming service on your mobile, and then you can actually easily then start buying stuff or engage. So big market, so there's a lot of hope for musicians. Discovery in music, there's a lot of music, made, and so that also comes to these marketplaces and digital platforms that enable discovery and sharing. SoundCloud is started by Swedish founders, now a Berlin-based company. It has 250 million monthly active users, which means that there's any given hour they reach nearly every country in the entire world. So it's the largest community. You can upload any sound, any podcast, any band, big artists use it. And that's actually my main source for discovering music. So I go there, I can follow people, I can follow artists, I see what they like and they post, and that's how I discover new music. And you can also buy stuff, you can either download music, you can buy music, share music, and so forth. So these communities are extremely, extremely important. And you can actually comment in every sound, every song. So it's thousands of comments in one song. So usually you just comment blog post. Now you can comment music. It's a very active community. Started also first for musicians to upload and change, collaborate in music. So you can upload your files and you can collaborate with the music. Another great service is mobile only. It's very easy, the best way to find live music. It's only in your phone. So it's also location-based, which means that if I today, as I see that many people are presenting from Greece, if I wanted to go out on Athens, Greece tonight, I just did a search, so I looked up, so who's playing tonight in Athens? I get the list, and I chose Blaze, I never heard of it. I can then easily listen to the tracks, what they're playing. I can check in the map where they're playing. I can favorite, I can share it, I can buy tickets. I can do everything in one screen, while also the music is playing in the background. So this also enables discovery for musicians, because I will probably listen more of these, see where should I go tonight, who should I listen. And it only works on mobile, which I always keep coming to, because if you're not in this one, you likely not to be found. And your chances increase to be found increases, definitely. Which is then a good segue to tourism, since music experiences are very close to tourism. And I'm sure most of you get these questions from your peers as you're cosmopolitans and global people living in different cities and very international. So you always get, so what's good in Berlin? Because I'm going there for the weekend, and any recommendations? This is what I get a lot. And before, since I was, you just write lists and you send some, links and recommendations, and you try to remember, what's a good restaurant and everything. But today, also on my mobile phone, you can have it on web and you don't have to sign up. It's called Foursquare. It's a location-based service. Best places discovery I know. I've been addicted the past 4 years. And like 45 million other people worldwide. There's a 5 billion check-ins, because you can check into a place and then you can recommend and say what you like and give recommendations. It's also used by 1.6 billion businesses, which means that there's also a loyalty program for all these small businesses and restaurants and places to promote their loyal customers and have special offers. So if I go around, I can see what's special and what's best around here. So I don't usually go to West Berlin that much, so I don't know the restaurants in here. So I check, when there's lunch, okay, so where should I go? I check out Foursquare and see which places I have to go, where my friends have been, most of all. And since I know that very many of you are going to Helsinki today, or this weekend at least, so I'll already mention it, so you can also make your list. So I have my favorite Helsinki list, so the places I like the most in Helsinki, I have best experiences, I've got it in the list, and you can subscribe it, you can save it to your own phone, and then you have everything in the map, and you can see places that I like. I have seen ones on Stockholm and Berlin and other cities, and there's so many more. You can even have, I just recently saw this, like, most paleo-friendly restaurants, and then you can even see menus there. You can make reservations. You see the opening hours, everything. It's all in your phone. So you definitely need the internet when you're traveling. And this is another service then. It's called Everplaces. It's a similar service. It's a community online. It's on your phone. So you can save your favorite lists and places for food and design and recommend to others. You can have them private, or you can have them for everyone. But now they also are turned into businesses, because tourism is a growing business, and especially mobile. So they are specialized to make these beautiful tourism optimized apps for your country, city, events, whatever you have. It's a Danish company, very good one, very design oriented, very beautiful apps. So, exactly, just keep calm. So what can you do to innovate then? Keep the creative economies going and growing. So things that I'm very involved in are something called hackathons. Weekend hackathons. I help our early stage internet companies and engage with entrepreneurship. And this is a very growing trend. It's hackathons are 48 hours during the weekend, different skill sets gather and build something new, products, services. Demo on Sunday, I'm often judging then the products that are coming out of these 48-hour challenges. And these are just a few ones that I've been involved with. Startup Weekend is a big global organization that are, like the main organization behind these. These are also self-organized, but then you have the main organization, startupweekend.org. You should all go there. They have these events worldwide, and you can start your own. So there was recently during Berlinale, there was a film industry edition, so I was judging their new innovative ways to help creatives in film industry. Music Hack Days also been going on for years. They are also global, and there's now in the South by Southwest in Austin, a big internet conference. There'll be another music hackathon, so you can start creating and innovating in music. And Photo Hack Day just recently, last week, was held in Japan. It was the first one here in Berlin. I was judging there too, and it's organized by the IM, the big marketplace for photos. So these things are going global, definitely everywhere. And I definitely suggest, if you want to innovate and thrive, new ideas, to organize one of these. You can have them in any vertical. I've been to health hack days, finance hack days, whatever you need to innovate within. And then the drive change. How do you drive change in this one then? So I will quote two smart people, two important topics that I've already mentioned. So Nelly Kroes, I'm sure you all know, Vice President of the European Commission. She has the technology agenda for Europe, digital agenda. And so she just recently, she has a very complicated relationship with roaming charges. So these are definitely hurting the economy overall, but specifically creative economies. Because you really need to be able to, have use of your mobile when you travel abroad. And then Peter Westerbacker, he's with Angry Birds and Rovio. I guess you all played Angry Birds. They also very concerned about the European marketplace, because it's very difficult. You have to there's 200 players, and not even talk about the music industry, how many they need to negotiate with. So the over-governing. So he just mentioned in a recent conference, so governments are trying to protect us from stuff we don't need protection from. So they need to get it out of the way so we can deliver the best possible experience. Because those who offer the best fan experience will be the future winners. So now actually China is the biggest market for them, because it's a huge market, but it's a one market. You just get there instead of negotiating through Europe, a lot of digital laws and regulations. So the main takeaways before lunch, I don't know, not yet, probably. So I see the creative industries very, very much on the rise, and I see it very positively. So there's more opportunities than ever, more possibilities than ever, and tools and audiences to reach with these digital technologies. because people want to engage, and that will be seen exactly with the social sharing and crowdfunding rising all the time. People do want to engage and support you when they find you and like you. And then the digital marketplaces, which do offer the transparency and trust. So you can have your own shop and hope that people will find you, or then you can be part of the marketplaces and get rid of all the hassle with legals and payments and stuff. They will be part of you, and then you give some commission. Between 3.5% or 10% is not. That's a pretty cheap deal. But to be able to do that, we need the global mobile and internet access. I mean, we definitely, that's one of the agendas since I want to address you, because you're in a world of diplomacy, so help the technology industry and understand why we need the internet access everywhere. Because those who offer the best discovery are discovered and offer the best experience, both before, after, and during and after the events, are the future winners. They really need to be enabled by internet. And then I also would like to leave you with a thought, one final question, since we heard a lot of interesting talks and addressing the reformers and a lot of difficulties in this talk. So, does a government who doesn't innovate care for its citizens? That I would like to leave you with. Keep innovating. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the excellent presentation, and I think it's crucial that you address the issue also of the creative economy. Very often, traditionally, cultural diplomacy has been about protecting or preserving or taking culture and putting it in a glass jar, and this is something we need to protect, which is very, very important, of course. On the other hand, I think especially in the context of the economic climate, it's crucial to ask the questions that you were asking, in the sense, how do we foster creative economies? How do we inspire new creation, innovation, entrepreneurship? And I think that seems to be maybe the missing ingredient in many of the countries' approaches to actually dealing with the economic crisis. So for many reasons, we really appreciated your perspectives and your insights. We'd be happy to take some questions or comments from all of you. I see a number of them, so let's take maybe a few at once, and then we'll continue with the final keynote address of the morning. But please, if you could introduce yourself, Elsa.
Good morning, my name is Julia. I work at a foreign policy think tank in Washington, specifically on digital policy, so I was really grateful to hear your insights and thoughts on the creative economy. I had two different points I wanted to make that I'm hoping you could address. The first is about the ease for international commerce to happen on digital platforms. Do you have any thoughts for policymakers? I see you were posing some questions to us as potential future policymakers, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are on perhaps the creation. I mean, we've got Bitcoins now, but this is a relevant new technology that is clearly being explored and piloted. Do you have thoughts that you would share with us about the pros and cons of perhaps a flat digital currency that is international in scope that would probably ease a lot of transactions? The second point was about the legislation that is being created in Brazil with the Marco Civil bill, which is seeking to localize data centers in Brazil, which will greatly inhibit particularly US and European companies from being able to do business with the enormous Brazilian market. And the European Commission also seems to be pursuing similar measures that would make it hard for consumers and businesses to interact across the Atlantic. These two separate measures seem to be contrary to the things that you seem to support very much. So I was wondering what, from your perspective, in your shoes, what are you doing every day to prevent these things from happening?
Thank you, Julia, for your excellent questions. So actually you do, mainly answered your own questions. I see we just keep doing things because, changing legislation takes time. We need to be very active on the internet and very vocal about, the whole Snowden era and NSA and stuff, and now everyone's keeping the data centers, where's data and who has that and what's the privacy. I'm very, pro-privacy, so I also am the open internet, so open innovation internet. But they're coming back to the things that need to be, you can't over-govern because it's internet. So having these digital marketplaces, no matter if there's going to be a Bitcoin, there's going to be something that will make it easier for the transactions. I don't know if it's going to be exactly called Bitcoin or just digital currency, but I think we just need to keep doing stuff all the time and not being, and we will, just like, I don't know if you know Uber, taxi drive, they are started in New York and then they come to Europe also, and in France they cut the tires and they change legislation. Just same in Belgium, they was just open in Brussels, and then they're trying to find problems with the cars, they can't drive, and so we have to still try to all the time push the boundaries, and because we need to be internet enabled, and that's what customers also want, to make it easier. So to answer your two questions, I don't see any one answer. We just need to stay vocal and be on our watch and make sure that we keep, we don't overgovern and make laws that actually are not helping any commerce. So unfortunately there's no, it's like you could do that, this and that, and I see, since I work with very early stage companies, the internet is, you can't really start by thinking about what can't be done, because you have the vision to change something for the better. That's how also the world gets better. You have the big visions and ideas that enable people to actually improve the state of countries. So, to summarize, just small steps all the time, and don't let the bad things take over, as we see as the overregulation. Definitely.
We're running tight on time, so I'd just to take the final two questions together if we can, and then the final response.
Oh, sorry. I'll be, of course, here. I mean, I will be later. My inbox is always open, and I'll be any more questions you will have, I'll be happy to meet and answer online.
Okay.
Yep. Yes. Thank you so much for the presentation. My name is Mats Fritzbøger. I'm a Danish trustee in Pohjola Norden, the Nordic Association. It's easy to become amazed of the digital and technological development here. But what concerns me is how this can have a positive influence on social problems, on economic growth, and globally on how to improve health and poverty. We have a situation where urbanization has led some very remote areas where many people are sitting without jobs, and it's often the male part of the population. I'm thinking here in the Nordic context of Samia, Eastern Greenland, Faroe Islands, and so on. I was wondering of your suggestions on how to fight this through the means of digital creativity. Thank you.
So your question was how these rural areas will be able to be. I'm not sure if I really got the problem or the problem in your question.
To exploit digital creativity in these.
So how they can be enabled by. Yes. So. Yeah. Well, if we get the internet everywhere, it's just like in many, in the Nordics, in Finland, it's a law. So everyone needs to have a high-speed internet, whether you're in Lapland or in Helsinki. So all these initiatives, like, coming from education, teaching technology and coding from the first class, like in Estonia, and coming and getting internet everywhere, just like, Nelly Cross is fighting for digital agenda and making the costs affordable for everywhere. So all these things together, you bring the internet and you educate people, and then it's, of course, in the end, it's up to people how they like to address that possibility and change. But I only see possibilities, actually, and I don't. If you bring internet to rural areas, what's the harm of that? You can probably stay there and enjoy the nature, and you're quiet, and then you can, exercise your own crafts and special things you're good at, instead of moving to big cities and selling your time in factory or something.
Final question?
Moi.
Moi.
Moi. Minä olen Esteban, minä olen espanjalainen, minä olin opiskeleja Taperin yliopisto. Anteeksi, minä ei puhu suomea. So I'm going to speak it in English.
Erittäin hyvin suomea. I'm very impressed.
Kiitos
Wow.
paljon. I am very interested in something about, because you were talking about innovation and of this kind of new media, and especially in social networks and sharing experience and all this stuff. And as you know, Tampere is close to Nokia. Okay, and
Bless their hearts.
yeah, and I want to know a little bit your feeling about what happened with Nokia, yeah, about your topic, because I am wondering if you are going to be agree with me that they were focused in developing only the device and the operating system based on Java, while another companies were focusing in that kind of new trends. And the main question is, how is your feeling about this? And what do you think they can improve now about the Nokia, the future of the Nokia, with how this is new trends and experience, how can improve Nokia about this, as I call it, it was a Trojan experience by Microsoft.
Yes, well, that's why I pulled up the Kodak Moment here. That was devastating me as a Finn, because that was, the biggest, pride and heritage for me is Nokia, and now I'm very attached to my iPhone. So, and regarding what Nokia can do, I don't know, you have to probably ask someone in Microsoft now. So, since they got a very good bargain on that one. So they are trying to find those new core areas they can still be competitive. I don't see a new Nokia as a brand. They will trying to survive in other areas, and that's also, when something else fails, something else starts. So now the whole Finnish gaming industry is completely booming, because a lot of people from Nokia, very educated, very smart people, are actually starting their own companies and putting their development skills in new services. So I don't see any. It was sad, and then it happened because of just this. You don't innovate and stay up with the time and consumers and needs. You think you have your own way, and people will, audience and consumers will adjust, which they don't anymore. They go to the ones that will actually satisfy their needs. So yeah, I don't have a Nokia answer. You have to ask someone else. But I think it's good what happened, and in the end, there's a lot of new entrepreneurship and good products and services coming up.
All right, well, on that note, I would like to ask everyone to please help me in expressing our sincere gratitude to Ms. Paula Marttila. Thank you very much.
Thank you.